朋友，大家午安。我们今天非常开心，就是邀请大家可以今天过来聆听仁波切的教授。2020年，新冠肺炎肆虐，天灾人祸动荡不安。我想我们现在目前都需要一些我们需要一盏明灯，我们需要一些指示。然后带领我们能够面对就是各种的挑战、迎向未知。今天我们非常开心能够邀请仁波切给予我们回归正常的这个教授，给我们一些就是引导。那今天我们在教授之前，我们非常感谢清泽基金会对于我们这个教授的场地跟这个直播赞助了一些就是赞助了我们一些费用，所以我们非常的感谢清泽基金会。那今天呢，在教授之前，我们先邀请台湾的清泽基金会的台湾代表姚仁喜先生来给予我们开场致辞。
Ladies and gentlemen. The following is the translation for Jingyi, who is the head of the Taipei Siddhartha's intent. On behalf of Siddhartha's intent, I welcome everybody to come to Rinpoche's teaching this afternoon. Because during 2020, we have this COVID-19 pandemic, and the whole world is very volatile. So at this time, what we exactly need is a bright lamp, direct instruction to lead us through this challenge and face the unknown future. Therefore, we are very happy to invite Rinpoche to give this return to normal teaching. This is what we desperately need at this moment. And before the teaching, we'd like to thank Kensei Foundation for sponsoring the expense of the 2 days teaching. Therefore, we would invite KF representative, Taiwan representative Chris Yao, which is me, to say some words to everybody. 谢谢。我现在变成这个清泽基金会的清泽基金会非常荣幸有机会赞助这次教授的场地。其实正确的来说，现场的许多朋友，包括正在观看直播的世界各地的朋友们，你们很多人都是清泽基金会的赞助者。是因为你们的扶持，所以基金会才有能力来资助仁波切今天教授的场地以及其他各种扶持佛法的项目，包括赞助佛学院、佛典保存、翻译、佛法人才培训、学术发展、儿童教育等等。因此，清泽基金会借这个机会，感恩大家多年来持续不断的捐款和扶持，大家才是今天教授场地的功德主。Kensei Foundation is very honored to have this opportunity to sponsor this teaching and the venue. In fact, to be very correct, many people here and also many people around the world who is watching the streaming, you are all Kensei Foundation sponsors. And because of your support, Kensei Foundation have the ability to help not only Rinpoche's teaching today, and also many other activities, such as propagate Dharma, supporting monasteries, preserving Buddhist texts, translations, training people, academics, and children's education, etc. Therefore, Kensei Foundation like to take this opportunity to thank everybody for many years of continuous donation and support. You are the sponsor of today's teaching. Thank you very much.
谢谢。
那我们现在来迎请仁波切进场，谢谢。
I'd like to express my joy of being in Taiwan again.
而且想表达他非常高兴再度来到台湾。
It is always very nice to be in a modern city where you have roads named after harmony and peace.
很高兴来到一个这个现代的城市，可是在这里，我们的路名有和平路、和平东路、西路这样的路。
And also kindness and compassion.
还有仁爱路，仁慈博爱。
The title of the teaching is Return to Normal.
我们今天的讲题是回归正常。
I think that is a Siddhartha intends marketing strategy.
这是悉达多本愿会的一个促销的策略。
Because what is normal?
因为到底什么是正常？
A normal for some people, it's chaos for others.
对某些人的正常，对另外人是混乱。
And the idea, the definition of normalcy or normality keeps on changing.
那有关于所谓的正常状况这种概念，事实上一直在改变。
Now, I know some of you probably has much better things to do since this is a very long holidays, right? 3 days, I was told.
诸位在座一定有一些人有更好的事情可以去做，因为在这个3天的假期里面。
So probably some of you may just want to be here for like 10 minutes.
所以可能有些人只想来听听10分钟而已。
Which is fine. You are very welcome.
这没关系，你很受欢迎。
So before you take off, I want to just tell you one thing that probably is a key to be normal.
所以在你离开之前呢，仁波切想告诉诸位一件事情，可能这就是所谓的要正常的关键。
And once you hear this, please go and have good time.
你听完了这个就可以出去玩。
I'm definitely not going to tell you, like how to pray or how to meditate or.
而且不会教大家怎么祈祷、怎么禅定等等。
I'm not even going to tell you to do positive thinking.
而且也不会告诉大家要有正面的想法。
And I'm definitely not going to think about. Definitely not going to tell you to think of sunrise or I don't know rainbow or stuff like that.
而且也绝对不会告诉你去想日出啊，或者是彩虹啊这种事情。
All I want you to do is just be aware of this moment, this now-ness.
而且只希望大家要做的是觉知此刻，觉知这个当下。
It's not complicated at all.
这一点都不复杂。
And you don't even have to sit straight.
那你根本也不用坐直。
You can actually, if you want to continue to do this later, you can even do this while walking around.
如果你待会儿继续想这样做的话，你在走路的时候也可以做。
And I'm not asking you to invoke some sort of a special thought and dwell in it.
什么些并不是要请大家说去想起一个什么特别的想法，然后去安住在这里面。
All I'm asking you is to be conscious or to be aware of what's happening now. And it could be something very, very ordinary and mundane.
那人们现在只要求大家要觉知或者意识到现在在发生的事情。那常常可能这是非常普通、非常平凡的事情。
So let's just do this for a few moments.
那我们来试一下做做看。
That's it.
就这样。
That's all I'm asking. And if you have the appetite to do this, and I think you should, I'm asking you to do this every day at least once.
那这就是仁波切希望大家做的。如果你有这种胃口去做的话，那你应该做，你应该一天至少做一次。
Can't get more normal than this.
那所谓的正常的，没有比这个更正常的东西了。
And there's no other better way to achieve the normality than this.
没有别的更好的方法可以达到所谓的正常性。
And this is now more relevant than ever.
这个在此刻呢是更适合大家来做，更需要。
Because we in the 20th century, 2020, we are not even a citizen anymore, citizen of a nation anymore.
那因为在现在，在2020这个年代，我们甚至已经不是一个国家的这个国民了。
Oh, I'm sure you have a Taiwanese passport, some have, Japanese passport, French passport, but actually we treat each other not as a citizen anymore. We just look at others as a consumer.
那当然，人们现在知道，大家有台湾护照、法国护照、日本护照等等的，不管什么。可是事实上，我们已经互相不以这个国民来对待了，我们只对待对方作为一个消费者。
And since we have been forced to be a consumer, and we also volunteer ourselves to be consumer, we forget to be normal.
那因为我们被强迫作为一个消费者，而同时我们也自愿做成一个消费者，所以我们就忘记了什么叫做正常。
Okay, so those who don't want to continue, this is it.
好，那些不想继续听的人，这个就够了，到这里。
And don't tell me you don't have time for this one.
那你不要跟仁波切说你没有时间做刚刚仁波切教的东西。
You have plenty of time to browse your Facebook or whatever, just few moments.
你有很多时间在浏览你的脸书，所以你有很多时间，就一下子几秒钟就好了，几分钟。
Okay. Now, I was born in a place called Bhutan.
仁波切是出生在不丹这个地方。
And unlike many of you, I wasn't born in a hospital.
不像诸位，仁波切并不是在医院里面出生的。
I was born amidst lots of bamboos and lot of lavender.
仁波切在很多竹子之间、竹林中，还有这个 lavender 薰衣草之间的出生的。
And Bhutan, as some of you may know, it's a landlocked country. Landlocked.
那不丹呢是一个四周都被其他国家包围的一个国家。
And as a citizen or a consumer from a landlocked country, we have a different psyche, which I'm not going to explain too much.
作为一个这个四周被包围的国家，这样子的国民或者是消费者呢，仁波切说我们不丹人有一种不一样的这个心理的状态。那仁波切不会讲太多。
Basically, you live in a small sort of a territory, and you have two big neighbors breathing down all the time.
那基本上就是一个很小的国家被夹在两个很大很大的国家之间。
Yes, so I grew up. Yeah, you can maybe not really jungle, but I definitely grew up in a forest.
那不一定叫做丛林里面了，不过仁波切是在一个森林里面长大的。
And I used to know a lot about, relatively speaking, I used to know a little bit about forest.
那相对的来说，仁波切曾经还蛮懂得这个森林里面的东西的。
I knew what kind of mushrooms you can eat and what kind of mushrooms you should avoid.
仁波切知道哪一种蘑菇你可以吃，哪一种你要避免。
But some of this knowledge now is gone.
可是现在这些知识呢，已经不见了。
Because most of the mushrooms that I eat is from 7-Eleven and other things.
大部分的蘑菇仁波切吃的都是从 7-Eleven 或其他地方来的。
I think I'm good at making fire still. I'm good at making fire.
仁波切还是蛮会烧火的。
But there's not so much place to make fire now.
这年头没有很多地方可以让人家来烧火。
At the age of around 6 or 7, I was taken away from my family.
那在我6、7岁的时候，他被从家里呢带走。
Actually, I was sold.
事实上，他是被卖掉的。
I was bought, maybe, I was sold for, I think, about 5 NT.
大概卖了差不多5块钱台币。
I'm not exaggerating. This is true.
这是事实，这不是仁波切在吹牛。
And there is a reason for this.
有个原因。
In the Himalayas, as many of you know, the culture believes in, recognizing reincarnation and so on and so forth.
也许诸位知道，在这个喜马拉雅山地区呢，这里的文化相信这个认证啊，这个转世啊这些事情。
So when I was really having a really good time actually it's like a subtropical place among the elephants, rhinoceros, and big python snakes. Some people turn up one day, some strangers turn up.
事实上，仁波切正好在 那个地方呢，气候很像这个亚热带气候的地方，而且周遭都有大象啊、犀牛啊、蟒蛇。他很开心在这里过日子的时候，忽然有一天，有一个奇怪的人出现。
And they said, you are reincarnation of some person.
他们来了，然后跟仁波切说你是某个人的转世。
It's a bit like if some Austrian come to you and say, hey, you have to go to Austria because you are Mozart's incarnation.
所以有一点像说，如果有一个奥地利人来到你面前，然后跟你说你必须去奥地利，因为你是莫扎特的转世，差不多是这样子。
Anyway, I was sold for such a cheap rate.
而且被卖得很便宜。
Not because my family had 7 children, including me.
不是因为仁波切家里有7个小孩，包括他。
I guess for my family, it was sort of an honor.
仁波切猜想呢，对他的家庭来讲，这是一个很大的荣耀。
But that money or whatever, that fare or that price was important.
可是那笔钱是很重要的。
It is actually in the custom that when the child is given to the whoever is taking away, they will give whatever the prize. This is to symbolize the family have no more say. It is the property or the commodity belong to someone else.
那这是一个当地的习惯，就是当有人来把这个小孩认证带走的时候，他给这笔钱。那这笔钱的意义就是说，这个家庭以后不能再要求对这个小孩有任何的要求。这个所谓的这个资产或这个东西呢，是属于带走的那个人的。
Anyway, yes, that was the end of being with my family.
那就是仁波切跟他家人相处的结束了。
So I don't have photo that has complete my family all together. Never. There's always me missing most of the time.
仁波切没有那个他跟所有的家里的成员一起拍的这种家庭照，他一张都没有。通常这些照片都没有他。
Anyway, once I left, I was made to study things that were written 2,500 years ago.
仁波切被带走以后呢，他就被要求要去读一些在2500年前教的东西。
And in fact, I have to say, after half a century, I am still studying things that were written 2,500 years ago.
那事实上呢，仁波切必须说，经过了差不多半个世纪了，他现在还在研读2500年前写的东西。
Now, what I studied and what I'm still studying has been named by named by other people. They named it Buddhism.
那仁波切所读过的跟现在还在读的这些内容呢，被别人称为叫做佛教。
It's very, very interesting.
这非常有趣。
And actually, it gets more complicated.
那事实上，它变得更复杂。
I think gradually other people, especially Westerners, they begin to categorize what I study as a religion or as a spiritual.
那事实上呢，这些所谓的其他的人，特别是西方人呢，把仁波切所读的那些内容，把它开始分类，而且把它分类成为是一个宗教或者是一个心灵的东西。
Anyway, you can say that I am thoroughly brainwashed and influenced and, yes, brainwashed by this so-called Buddhism.
所以总而言之呢，诸位可以说，仁波切是完完全全的被这个所谓佛教这个东西所完全的影响跟洗脑，彻底的洗脑。
And today, I have come to a conclusion that there's only one man who really is right, and everything what he said, he's the only one that is right, and his name is Siddhartha or Gautama Buddha.
那仁波切说，他认为呢，直到今天，他认为只有一个人，他所说的是完全正确的。那这个人就是悉达多，或者是乔达摩佛陀。
Of course, no, I'm not only saying he's right in the technique of meditation.
他当然，仁波切不只是在讲说他对于这个打坐的技巧上面的是对的，不是这样。
He's right with everything. He's right with economy.
他一切说的都对的，他对经济方面说的是对的。
He's right with science.
他对科学是对的。
Leadership.
领导统御他是对的。
Politics.
Holiday.
Politics.
假期他也是对的。
Relationship.
男女关系他也是对的。
Parenting.
画画。
Only he is right.
只有他是对的。
So this is how I think. I'm totally brainwashed. You can say that.
这是仁波切的想法，你可以说仁波切是完全被洗脑了。
Like, as we go on, we can discuss this more.
我们继续谈下去，可以互相讨论。
Now, I'm a human being.
仁波切说他是一个人。
I'm not saying this to prove that I'm partially AI.
仁波切讲这个不表示他要证明说他是局部的这个 AI。
The studies I have done, called Buddhism, believes that there is so many intelligence, like not just us human beings, there's so many other intelligence that exists, like infinite direction and infinite spaces.
仁波切所读的这个佛教呢，告诉他说，事实上不只是像我们这样有智能的人，事实上有很多无限的这个有智能的东西或者人，在无限的方向跟无限的空间里面。
It talks about millions of planets.
佛教谈到这个数以百万计的星球。
And some of these planets have interesting intelligence and beings.
那在这些星球里面有很多很有趣的、很有智能的这种众生。
Anyway, to make it more comprehensible, Buddhism teaches about, 5, 6 different planets. Sort of groups of beings.
那为了要让它这个比较简单，所以佛教讲到大概有5、6种类的这种众生。
Well, we just happen to be what the Buddhists call human beings, human realm.
那我们正好就是佛教讲的这个人道。
I don't think I am an animal.
仁波切不觉得它是一个动物，或者说畜生道。
Well, I have address.
我有地址。
And I don't have sex with my mother.
然后我不会跟母亲发生性关系。
And I don't think I'm God.
而且也不觉得他是天道、天神。
I have ups and downs. I was told that gods don't have these ups and downs.
而且的情绪会高低起伏。听说这个天神们不会这样子。
And I don't have clairvoyance.
而且也没有这个他心通。
Anyway, I don't wish to have one.
而且不想要有他心通。
Just imagine if I know even partially what goes on inside your head.
想想看，如果他只知道了你一部分你心里在想的事情，那有多可怕
？I'm not so sure whether I am partially ghost or not.
而且不太确定他是不是局部上是这个鬼。
In certain Buddhist point of view, every beings are kind of a ghost.
在佛教上面来讲呢，大部分所有的众生都某部分是鬼。
But I think when we talk about a ghost, we are talking about a certain category of beings.
那当然，我们一般在讲鬼呢，是在讲某一个种类的这个众生。
I don't think I am 100% that kind of ghost.
人们就觉得他不是100%的那个恶鬼道。
Because even though my life is so uncertain, it's still, there's still a bit of a certainty.
虽然我的生命呢非常不确定性蛮高的，可是还是有相当程度的确定性。
Many times, I'm familiar with some of you people here.
比如说，我们就认识诸位一些人。
Like, when I meet some of you, my friends, I recognize you.
比如说，他见到他的朋友们，诸位，他认得大家。
And the same person I see this morning, and if I see this afternoon, I will assume that it's the same beings. So I think I'm not a ghost.
早上看到了一个人，下午再看到同一个人，他会认为这是同一个人，所以人们就认为这个证明他并不是鬼。
So I am a human.
所以他是一个人。
And not only I'm a human, I have been educated and taught and influenced to think that I'm a man.
而且不只是一个人呢，他被教育、教导，而且影响了，让他觉得他是一个男人。
So if I need to go to pee, I have confidence to go to the gents.
所以他如果要这个小便的话，他很有信心的走进男厕所里。
I don't think I belong to what they call a fluid generation, fluidity generation.
人们却觉得他不属于所谓的那种流动世代。
I envy them.
人们却很羡慕这些流动世代的年轻人。
I wish I have this, I envy them partly because you have this curiosity. What one feels if you are wearing a bra?
因为人们却羡慕他们，是因为有时候你会想象说，到底戴个胸罩是什么感觉
I am stuck as a man.
人们却卡住在他是一个男人的这个状态。
And as a man, I was told that men are social animal.
作为一个人呢，男人是人家告诉他说，这个人是社群动物，
So
群居动物。
I'm not like a polar bear who lives alone.
他不像这个北极熊一样是单独的一个人住在一只熊住在 单独的居住。
So I like interaction.
所以我喜欢这种跟人互动。
And I'm sure a lot of you do too.
诸位大概很多人也这样子。
And interaction is highly interacting with other human beings is interaction or socializing, I guess. Socializing is supposed to help us develop emotional stability.
那跟人的这个高度的互动，或者是这种社交，事实上是，据说是会帮助我们来发展一种情绪上的稳定性。
It is also supposed to make us flexible, emotionally flexible.
也是可以让我们在情绪上比较具有弹性。
But as many of you know, what helps us, what makes us flexible, what makes us stable, can also do the opposite.
诸位也很清楚，能够帮助我们变成比较有弹性，帮助我们变成比较稳定的，有时候也会造成相反的后果。
And the list goes on. I have been educated and influenced to think that I'm a Bhutanese and I'm a Buddhist.
那这个单子是很长的，可以继续讲下去。而且也被教育、被影响，让他自己认为他是一个不丹人，让他自己觉得他是一个佛教徒。
Now we are here to talk about, normalcy or normality.
那我们今天来这里是在谈这个所谓的正常性，或者是正常的状态。
Now, 2,500 years ago, Buddha said, "You are your own master. Who else can be your master?"
2500年前，佛陀说：“你就是你自己的主人，还有谁是你的主人呢？”
This is really important. That such kind of a thinking exists 2,500 years ago.
这是非常重要的，能够在2500年前有这样子的思想。
Long before democracy is even conceived.
在这个所谓的民主还没有被想出来之前。
But to be master of oneself is, I think, wish of everyone.
可是作为自己的主宰或者自己的主人，是几乎是每一个人的愿望。
Now, more than ever, people want to be master of themselves.
尤其是现在，比起以前，大家更想要变成自己的主宰。
We want to be in control. We want to be in control.
我们希望能够控制。
And well, actually, not only we want to be in control of ourselves, we also like to control others.
我们不只是想要控制自己呢，我们还想控制别人。
And in order to sort of achieve that state of being master for oneself, we apply all kinds of methods.
为了要达到这种能够主控、能够控制的这种状态，我们利用了各种方法。
We try to be cool.
我们想要变成很酷。
We want others to think that we are cool.
我们希望别人认为我们很酷。
And in the process of interacting with others or socializing with others, we actually also end up becoming the victim of others.
那在我们跟别人互动还有社交的过程里面，我们同时也变成其他人的受害者。
not only we become the victim of others, we actually become a victim of the act of socializing, the activity itself.
我们不只是变成其他人的受害者，我们也变成这个社交行为的受害者。
We are so afraid of being lonely.
我们非常害怕寂寞。
We are very bored. We are so afraid of being bored.
我们很害怕变成很无聊。
And we are so afraid of being left out.
我们很怕被人家不属于别人的团体里。
And we spend so much time answering and communicating through all kinds of, platform.
我们用各种平台，用各种方法来回应，来跟别人沟通。
So, art of being alone, art of loving to be, art of loving boredom that are taught, not just in Buddhism actually, in many of the ancient wisdom, we are not even interested.
所以这个要独处的这种艺术，跟喜欢无聊的这种艺术，事实上在佛教里面有教导过，还有很多古老的这种思想都教导过，可是我们不见得有兴趣。
This means that we are trying so hard to fit in.
这表示呢，我们是很用力的想要去融入。
We try to fit into a certain class of societies, and we also send our kids to schools so that they will fit in to certain society.
我们非常想要融入某种社会的阶层，同时我们也把小孩送到学校里面去，也希望他们能够融入这个他们恰当的阶层。
We read different kinds of books, we watch news, we listen to podcasts so that we will be better equipped to fit in or to be not left out.
我们读各种书，看新闻，还有听这种广播里面的这个 podcast， 让我们自己比较更能够融入，而不要被这个排斥在外头。
So in the process, we change. In the process, gradually, meaning of meaning changes. Meaning of meaning.
那所以在这个过程里面呢，这个意义的含义呢就改变了。
Definition of benchmark.
或者是像这个标准的定义。
Yardsticks.
或者是这个度量的这种标准。
Definition of legitimacy.
这个合法性、正确性的定义。
Definition of accountability. All this keeps on changing.
或者是这个可依赖性的这种定义呢，所有这些都在改变。
I'll give you a good example.
我们先给一个好的例子。
Just a few days ago, I got up extra hours early to finish my daily Buddhist, meditation and so on and so forth, so that I can catch debate between Trump and what's his name? Biden.
几天前呢，人们就特别早起了好几个钟头，来把他早上应该修的这个法修完，为的就是要能够赶上这个 Trump 跟拜登的这个辩论。
And I get emotionally engaged when one of them misbehaves.
人们就看到其中一个人那个行为不端的时候，他觉得情绪被激动起来。
And when one of the other one fumbles, my hand sweats.
那另外一个人呢，这个当他讲不太出来， 结结巴巴的时候，人不就手都流汗了。
Isn't it amazing? A man who was born amidst the lavender and the bamboos have now reached to this level.
那不是很奇怪吗？一个出生在这个竹林跟薰衣草里面的一个人，现在已经到了这种地步了。
That this man worries about the fate of United States.
这个人担心这个美利坚共和国的前途、命运。
So much changes in our life.
我们生命之中有太多的改变。
Our values, everything, the way we see things.
我们的价值观，我们看事物的方法。
I grew up in India watching voluptuous Indian girls dancing in Bollywood.
而且在长大的过程，在印度看着这个体态婀娜的印度女生呢跳舞，在这种宝莱坞的电影里面。
Now the Indian elites, girls are trying to look like toothpick.
可是现在呢，印度的这种高阶层的女士们都想要把自己的身材变成像牙签一样。
All just to fit in.
都是为了要融入。
Also that we will not be left out.
都是让我们不要被排斥在外。
Bhutan's national game sport is archery.
不丹的这个国家的最有名的运动呢，就是射箭。
But I worry more about Barcelona
可是人们
football team.
人们比较担心巴塞隆纳足球队到底踢得好不好。
I even know the names of the Barcelona football players, and I think I used to remember even their birthdays.
人们都知道这个巴塞隆纳球队球员的名字，事实上以前他还记得他们的生日。
So as I was saying, many of you send your kids to different places.
那就像我刚刚说的，许多在座的人都把你们的小孩送到不一样的地方去。
And I know it's all meant for their goodness.
人们知道都是为了他们好。
Because you don't want your kids to be left out.
你不希望你的小孩被排斥在外。
And I'm sure many of your kids will have sweaty hand in 50 years later when they were watching another presidential debate.
而且也很确定你的小孩在差不多50年后呢，他在看另外一对总统辩论的时候，手心也会出汗。
There's so much changes how we tell stories.
所以有很多这个我们怎么讲故事的方法都改变了。
How many of you and the way we dress?
还有我们穿衣服的方法。
And how you call yourself name.
还有你自己怎么称呼你自己，叫自己什么名字。
Jennifer is sitting right in front of me.
这里有一位 Jennifer 坐在他的面前。
Chris is translating for me.
那个翻译的人叫做 Chris。
Sorry. This is how we change.
这是我们的改变。
When I was a kid, by the way, I have a lot of names.
人们当他小的时候，他说他有很多名字。
When I was a kid, I think my grandmother gave me name Lepo.
他的祖母在他小时候给他一个名字叫做 Lepo。
My father's father, Dujom Rinpoche, gave me two names.
仁波切的祖父就是敦珠法王，给他2个名字。
One is called Tsangpa Lai Meto, which means the flower of heaven.
那刚刚仁波切讲那个藏文，就是说是天堂的花这个意思。
I guess people, maybe my immediate family may have thought it was too girlish to have a name like that.
那他的家人大概会觉得说，有这样的名字是很像女孩的。
So he then gave me another name called Kensen Norbu.
所以他就又给了另外一个名字，叫做 Kensen Norbu 金泽诺布。
And Sakya Trizin gave me a name.
老的萨迦法王也给他一个名字。
And that's called Jamyang Tutin Chuji Jaso.
那叫做怎样秋吉土登加措。
Yeah. Just there are many more. There are so many others. Other names. Probably 60.
还有很多其他的名字，大概加起来有60个名字。
But anyway, Lepo, my grandmother's name, one that she gave me, is Lepo, and Lepo means the idiot.
他的祖母给他的名字叫 Lepo，Lepo 的意思就是白痴、呆子，我想叫做。
And when my families, when they were very loving to me, it's always the Lepo.
当这个家人跟他这个很温馨的这种感觉的时候，都叫他 Lepo。
And my father, and also others, when they're a little annoyed with me, especially my father, Kensen Norbu.
那如果有家人对他不太客气的时候，尤其是他父亲不对他不高兴，就会叫他金泽诺布。
So the preferred name is idiot.
所以最喜欢的名字就是阿呆了，我想叫阿呆。
And there are a lot of Bhutanese whose name, my sister, by the way, is Lemo, means the female idiot.
他姐姐的名字叫做 Lemo， 就是这个女阿呆吧。
And many, many Bhutanese, my generations, have this kind of names.
那在他这一代的不丹人有很多这样子的名字。
But I think in about 20 to 30 years' time, it is, yes, in about 20 years' time, Bhutanese kids will sue their parents for giving this kind of name, for emotional damage.
可是再过差不多20年左右呢，不丹的小孩可能会告他们的父母亲，帮他取这种名字，因为造成了这种心灵上的伤害。
Because many Bhutanese will, and many youngsters, many young Bhutanese who is now sent to Ivy Leagues and other, they will be then finish watching maybe about 20 presidential debate. No, not 20, how many? About
5.
5, right? 5 presidential debates. And by then they will learn how to feel emotionally damaged.
那因为这很多不丹的这个爸妈都把小孩送去国外念书，常春藤学校等等的。那等他们差不多20年后看过5次的总统辩论以后，到那时候他们就会学会怎么感受到心理受到创伤。
But this is very mundane. Who cares?
可是这个很平常，谁管这些东西？
Culture is something that always evolves.
文化总是一直在转化的、演化的。
But there are few serious ones that we should pay attention to.
可是有一些比较重要的，我们应该要注意。
For instance, one that always bugs me.
其中有一个让仁波切一直觉得很在乎的、很芒刺在背的。
It always bugs me whenever people categorize Buddhism into department of a spiritualism, spiritual. Buddhism as a spiritual.
其中之一呢，就是每次他听到人家说把佛教归属于某种心灵的这种分类的话，他都觉得很不舒服。
Buddhism is not spiritual.
佛教不是心灵的。
First of all, the English word, the spiritual, is very deeply, deeply rooted into Christian, history.
那首先呢，英文的这个 spiritual 就是我翻成精神、心灵的，这是一个非常深植于基督教传统的一个概念。
I don't think Buddhists even believe in spirits.
那当然，这个可能可以翻成精神性的，因为佛教根本就不相信有精灵这种东西。
It's almost like, just imagine, in 100 years' time, computer science or biology department of MIT is categorized as a study of cult or religion.
那如果诸位想想看，如果说100年以后呢，这个 MIT 所学的这个电子计算机的学问或者是生物学，被归纳成为一种叫做盲目崇拜的这种信仰的话。
But I think this is very, very kind of, these are the things that we have, these are the things that we should pay attention, because these kind of things happens very subtly.
这一类的事情我们应该要注意，因为它发生的过程很细微的，很没有痕迹的。
For example, even these things seems to be happening even within the Chinese society.
这些事情在这个华人的社会里面也在发生。
Many people, I feel, many Chinese seems to think that Buddhism is to make you better person.
很多这个华人的社会人呢，都觉得说，佛教是会要让你变成一个更好的人。
No, Buddhism is not to make you better person.
不是的，佛教不是要把你变成一个更好的人。
Of course, Buddhism is not to make a bad person. Of course not.
当然，佛教不是要把你变成一个坏人。
If you become a better person, for Buddhism, it's sort of a side bonus.
你变成一个比较好的人，对佛教来讲，这只是一个附带的一个好处而已。
It's a bit like if you buy a laptop, a charger comes with it.
就好像你买一个电脑的那个充电器会一起来一样。
But you don't go to a computer shop and only buy charger. Right?
你不会跑到一个电脑店里面，然后只是去选那个充电器吧？
Yeah, I feel that many times my Chinese friends, they seem to think that to be a Buddhist is really aiming to become a better person.
在很多时候，人们觉得中国华人朋友呢，都觉得说，作为一个佛教徒，就是目标就是要成为一个更好的人。
Buddhism is not necessarily also, Buddhism is not it's not a path to engage in social service.
那佛教也不是一条道路，是在跟这个社会服务扯上关系的一个道路。
I would be more happy if somebody say, Buddhism is preparation to go to Amitabha Ram. That to me is more better.
如果有人跟人们去说，佛教呢是一个准备要去西方极乐世界的一个道路，那人们现在会觉得这个讲的比较好。
So just like in Chinese society, to be a Buddhist means to be a better person. Now, in the modern world, especially in the West, Buddhism is sort of synonymous to mindfulness, meditation, so on and so forth.
就如同在中国社会里面的佛教被认为就是要做成一个更好的人一样，现在在现代的社会，尤其在西方，佛教就被跟这个 正念啊、禅定啊这样子的事情连在一起。
Anyway, I'm telling you this just as some sort of a background, because we are supposed to talk about normalcy, normality.
而且跟大家讲这些呢，主要是提供一个背景，因为我们基本上是要来谈正常性。
And I think it's really important that we are aware of cultural conditioning.
很重要的，我们必须要了解到这种文化的制约。
I suppose this time many of you may have think, oh, 2020 pandemic, things have become not normal, right?
诸位可能很多人会这一次想说，哦，2020这个疾病，事情都变成不正常了。
But this is a very gross, not normal.
可是这是一个非常粗的一种不正常。
We can easily or soon get out of this kind of abnormality.
我们可以很容易的，或者是说很快的，从这种不正常里面出来。
But there is inherent abnormality. I should not say the inherent. Just we have to be aware. We have to be really cautious about, loss of normality at all times.
可是我们同时呢，反而要更注意、更小心，很多其他的这种不同的不正常呢，一直在发生的。
Anyway, when we talk about return to normal, there is a sense of nostalgia.
总而言之，当我们谈这个回归正常的时候，有某种这种怀旧的心情在里头。
There is a sense of going back to the past.
有一种感觉是要回到过去。
I don't know whether that is possible.
而且不知道这是可能的吗？
And even if it is possible, I don't know whether it is a right thing to do.
那即使可能，也不晓得是不是正确的事情。
Maybe it's not really a good idea.
也许不见得是好的想法。
Maybe it is also good to be visionary and, think ahead.
也许比较好的是要有远见，要看到前方。
Think of a long term.
想想长期的事情。
For instance, the earth that we live on is really being overly used and abused.
可以想想这个我们所居住的这个地球呢，事实上被用的过度了，被糟蹋了，被滥用了。
And it seems that the abnormality of the environment seems to be coming very fast.
而且这个环境上的不正常来得非常快速。
And when that happens, probably, wearing mask and washing hand may not do much.
当那个真的来到的时候，我们戴口罩啊、洗手啊，可能帮助不大了。
But here in Buddhism, even being obsessed about the future is maybe not the best thing to do.
可是在这儿呢，从佛教的观点来讲，如果你执着于一直在想未来，也不见得是一件好的事情。
So, going back to what is the best way to really achieve normality or the normal state. And according to Buddhism, to be master of oneself.
所以什么是最好的办法来达到，或者是达到这个正常性，达到正常呢？根据佛教呢，就是要让自己成为自己的主宰。
We have to, yes, we have to be in control of our life.
我们要能控制我们的生命。
Okay, now this leads to a far bigger questions.
那这个带我们到另外一个更大的问题。
When we talk about, okay, I should be control of myself. Who is this I?
当我们说我要能够控制我的生命，那这个我是谁？
Identity is very, very complex.
这个我的这个identity， 所以我是一个很难定义的事情。
Identity is very abstract, very abstract.
这个 identity 怎么翻译 ？identity 这个就是这个说我这件事情是很抽象的。
There is a lot of assumptions about what is I.
对于什么是我，有很多假设。
We have feelings.
我们有感觉。
Who is it that is actually feeling?
是谁在感觉这些事情
We are scared. Who is it that is being scared?
我们恐惧，是谁在恐惧
We are insecure. We are longing for success. Who is it that is doing all that?
我们感觉没有不安全感，我们渴望成功，是谁在感觉这些事情
Religious people trust in God. Who is it that is trusting the God?
宗教人士呢，信仰这个上帝，那是谁在信仰
Non-religious people or modern people, let's say, feel alienated.
现代人或者是非宗教人士感觉到疏离。
As I said earlier, lonely, bored.
就像刚刚讲的这个寂寞、无聊。
We get depressed. We are anxious. Who is it that is being depressed?
我们感觉到很沮丧、很焦虑，是谁在感觉沮丧跟焦虑？
Religious people, whenever they feel insecure, whenever they are scared, they go to church, they go to temple.
宗教人士当他们感到不安全或者是恐惧的时候，他们去到教堂或者是寺庙里。
Generally, whenever we are bored, whenever we are lonely, whenever we are scared, I don't know, we do all sorts of things. We try to get a diploma.
当我们感到无聊、感到寂寞或者恐惧的时候，我们做很多事情，比如说我们去拿一个学位。
We try to get a job. We try to generate a career.
我们去找份工作，或者我们去创个业。
And yes, we go to shopping.
是的，我们去购物。
And there's just so much identity crisis. Very many times very subtle, other times very obvious.
总而言之呢，我们就有很多很多的这种认同危机，有的是很明显的，可是有的是很隐晦的。
We make statements.
我们做一些宣言
because there's an identity crisis.
因为有这种认同的危机。
Fashion statement, hairstyle statement.
我们做，比如说像时尚的宣言，我们做这个发型的宣言。
Perfume,
香水。
Length of skirts.
裙子的长度。
All this is to create identity, to create an assurance of identity.
所有这些都是让我们确定我们自己的认同。
Okay, so let's ask the Buddhists, what is self?
那所以我们来问佛教徒是什么是自我
Now, classic Buddhists will say something like form is emptiness, emptiness is form, form is not other than the emptiness, emptiness is not other than the form.
经典的说法呢，佛教徒会回答说：色即是空，空即是色，色不异空，空不异色。
Equivalent to that is something like style is emptiness, emptiness is style, emptiness is not other than the style, style is not other than the emptiness.
那跟这个相同的，我们也可以说，这个时尚风格是空，空即是时尚风格，时尚风格不异空，空不异时尚风格。
But that's like so abstract. What does that mean?
可是这是很抽象，这到底什么意思
So let us try to decipher this.
让我们来解答这个东西。
And I think that is important because we are trying to really achieve some sort of a state of normalcy.
因为这很重要，因为我们是想要回到某种正常的状态。
But maybe we take a break, like 15 to 20 minutes break.
好，那我们休息个15到20分钟。
Okay. So we were talking about identity identity.
我们刚刚在谈这个身份或者是认同。
I read it somewhere that the identity crisis is going to be the most sort of vicious suffering of the modern world.
那么，且曾经在某个地方读过，说这个认同危机会是这个现代世界最严厉的一种痛苦。
Because in about 30 years, all what I'm telling you, all what I'm talking to you, a machine can do it, I was told. So there will be an AI Rinpoche, he will do everything.
仁波切说，大概在30年以后呢，所有仁波切刚刚在跟大家讲的话，都会有这个人工智能 AI 仁波切呢，都可以来讲，他可以做所有的事情。
Right now, I feel okay, I'm okay because I have identity, job, title, Rinpoche, so safe at the moment.
那目前呢，仁波切觉得他有这个身份，有这个工作，有这个名号，叫仁波切，所以他觉得有点还 OK。
In about 20 years, all this will be done by, what is it? Algorithm, right? Algorithm.
那差不多20年后，所有这些都会被这种计算式所来解决掉。
So you just press the button and then you get whatever you want.
所以你就按个钮，然后你就会得到所有你要的东西。
So then, now, who am I?
那时候呢，我是谁呢？
You know? So I think it makes sense that the biggest problem in the modern world is the identity problem.
所以是很有道理的。这个现代社会最大的一个问题就是认同危机。
So okay, broadly speaking, when we say me, you are referring to several things.
很概略的说呢，当我们在说我的时候，我们在指有几件事情。
I think you are referring to your body.
一方面我们在讲我们的身体，
And then, of course, your stuff like gender, nationality, color.
当然像性别啊、国籍啊、这个肤色啊，
And then also like job, positions.
然后还有工作职位啊。
But of all these, there's something called mind.
那所有这些里面呢，有个东西叫做心，
And that should be the most important.
那这是应该最重要的。
And regarding the mind, if there's anyone who have invested regarding the mind, really studying what it is, books written about it, songs sang about it, poetry is written about it. If there's anyone, I would say is Indians and Chinese.
有关于心呢，如果我们说有谁真正的是去深入研究，去花时间去了解，去写歌来赞颂它，或写诗词来描述它。如果有人这样做的话，那目前会说他们应该就是印度人跟中国人。
And not new. 3,000, 4,000 years of study they have done.
而且不是新的，是2、3千年、4,000年、4000年前就在研究这个心。
But both Indians and Chinese, they've lost it. Or losing it.
或者可是中国人跟印度人都正在失去它。
Especially the young Chinese and young Indians, not even interested.
特别是年轻的中国人、印度人，他们没有兴趣对这件事情。
Anyone who talks about this most important thing, mind, they get categorized as these religious people.
任何人来谈这个最重要的这个新的题目的话，就会被归类为这种宗教人士。
Modern Chinese young people are too embarrassed to read Tao Te Ching.
年轻的中国人呢，读《道德经》呢，觉得很没面子。
They rather believe in social media or mainstream medias.
他们宁可去相信这个社交媒体上的东西，或者是主流媒体所写的。
And at the end of the day, what is media? It's all a bunch of lies.
那其实来说，什么叫做媒体？总是全部都是一些谎言而已。
And mainstream media is even bigger because it's the mainstream lies.
那这个主流媒体呢更糟，那是一个主流的谎言。
But anyway, as I was saying, Chinese and Indians, if not lost it, definitely losing it.
所以像仁波切讲的，中国人跟印度人，如果不是已经失去了，就是正在失去当中。
They think it's too archaic.
他们认为这是过时的，
They think it's too superstitious.
是迷信的。
And yeah, hardly people pay attention to this study.
很少人去注意来研究这些事情。
And beside that, you remember, I was trying to, all this is because of what I was saying earlier, because we are trying so hard to fit in.
所有这都跟刚刚讲的，我们非常努力的要去融入，
Fit into rules and societies and the values that someone else has invented.
我们想要融入这个规矩啊、社会啊，或者是一种观念呢，是别人所创造的这些。
Mind is the most important.
心是最重要的。
Like this table doesn't get lonely.
这个桌子呢，它不会感到寂寞。
If we all leave from here and left here 1 week, the table never feels ignored.
如果我们等一下全部走了，这桌子放在这里1个礼拜，这桌子不会觉得被忽略了。
And if you suddenly bring a taller, bigger table or a slimmer table, then this table doesn't get jealous or, like competitive.
如果你现在搬了一个更大、更壮的、更好看的这个桌子，或者是更苗条的桌子进来，这桌子也不会觉得嫉妒或者有竞争的心理。
It doesn't get insecure, basically.
它基本上不会有不安全感。
By the way, you can always decide not to have a finger.
那个荣谢说，你永远可以决定说，你可以不要有一只手指头，
Like cut a finger, like a Yakuza people.
就好像那个日本黑道的那个切掉一个手指头。
You can always decide to shave your hair.
你永远可以决定把你的头发剃光。
You can always sort of, cut your part of your body, I guess.
你永远可以切掉你身体的一部分。
But mind, you can't do this.
可是心，你没有办法这样做，
You are stuck with this.
你卡住了，你不能没有它，
You can't sort of eject it,
你不能把它弹掉，把它拿掉。
You cannot delete it and trash it and permanently empty it.
你不能像电脑那个把它丢到垃圾桶里面，然后把它永远去除。
Sometimes it's really painful to have a mind.
有时候呢，有个心是非常痛苦的。
But if you know how to handle it, as the great Siddhartha said, it is the jewel, the most precious thing, the most beautiful thing.
那可是如果你可以控制它，那就像这个大成就者撒哈拉说的，它就是最珍贵的珍宝。
Now, you have no choice not to have mind.
现在这个没有选择，不能没有心。你没有选择，一定要有心。
Well, actually, to be more specific, okay, this might confuse some of you new people, but just to entertain those who are used to the Buddhist teachings, I'd like to just say this. You do have a choice not to have mind.
仁波切说，现在下面要讲的，可能对一些新来的朋友可能会觉得有点迷惑。不过对于 为了要让这些有一些老一点的知道佛教的朋友们讲，他讲下面这个，第一个就是说，你是有一个选择，是可以不要有心。
Anyway, for now, for most of us, you and me, we are stuck with the mind.
那对大部分的我们呢，现在我们就卡在一定有心这件事情。
Not too bad, actually, to have a mind.
有心不是一个太坏的事情。
But when you have a mind, the possibility of being confused is also there. This is the painful part of the mind. Since, mind gets confused.
可是你有心呢，那有心的状况底下，让你迷惑的可能性也就会在那里。那这就是有心的痛苦就在这里。
Like this table never gets confused.
像这桌子永远不会觉得迷惑。
Never feel this table doesn't have existential angst that the Europeans talk about.
这个桌子没有欧洲人讲的这种存在的焦虑。
We will talk about this a little later.
我们待会儿会谈到这个。
But anyway, for now, yes, so when you have a mind, this mind can get confused.
当你有心的时候，这个心有可能变得迷惑。
But just as it can get confused, it can also be awakened from this confusion, which is a good news.
那就如同它会变得迷惑，它也可以从这个迷惑里面觉醒过来。那这个就是一个好消息。
Now, this is the challenge, a very big challenge, actually.
那这是一个挑战，一个非常大的挑战。事实上，
just to elaborate a little bit more.
多讲一点的话呢，
Okay, so in the dark room, if you see a striped rope, and if you confuse it as a snake,
在一个黑暗的房间里面，如果你看到一个有斑纹的绳子，然后你迷惑了，以为它是一条蛇，
you will experience the fear of snake.
那你就会经验到对蛇的恐惧。
Now, this is the very interesting and challenging part.
那这是一个非常有趣而且具挑战的一个部分。
Because snake doesn't exist,
因为蛇并不存在，
but the fear of the snake exists. Isn't it paradoxical? Isn't it so strange?
可是对于蛇的恐惧却是存在的，这不是很奇怪，非常像这个悖论一样吗？
In other words, the fear of snake is not dependent on whether there is a snake or not. You still can be afraid of a vision of a snake, independent from whether there is a snake or not.
那这个就是在说，对于蛇的恐惧，事实上并不依赖于是不是有蛇在那里。这个对于蛇的恐惧，事实上是完全跟蛇存不存在是独立的，不相干的。
In a very crude and simplified way of saying, basically trying to get rid of a problem that does not have a base.
用一个很概念、很粗的说法的话，基本上就是我们想要去除一个问题，这基本上这个问题是没有基础的。
It's always more complicated to talk about this.
在谈这个总是就比较复杂了。
Which is basically whole Buddhism.
那这其实就是整个佛教。
really, the whole Buddhism is a remedy to sort or heal or relieve or awaken from a problem that does not have a base.
基本上呢，佛教就是一个药方呢，是来治疗或来解除或来觉醒，从一个问题，从一个没有基础的问题之中来治疗、疗愈、解除或者是觉醒。
Okay? Now, the question is this: How did the fear came?
那问题是，大家会问说，那这个恐惧从哪里来的？
It just can't sort of randomly happen.
它不会就没有理由的出现嘛？
Infinite amount of cause and conditions.
有无尽的、无数的这种因跟缘产生的。
Now, we are not going to talk about the most subtle cause and conditions because I think that needs a lot of, time and reading, and I guess in this kind of setting where there's a lot of people who are, many of you are very well versed in Buddhism, but some of you maybe this is the first time, so probably not appropriate to discuss this now.
仁波切在这里不会去谈这个非常细微的这个因缘之间的关系，因为这个是需要很多研讨、很多讨论、很多读、很多这个东西才能够来谈的。我们今天的这个场所，虽然诸位在座有很多对佛教很有研究，可是也有一些人可能是第一次来听的，所以我们就不深入谈这个。
But for now, the fear comes from habit. I think let's begin with that.
那可是目前为止，我们可以这样说，就是这个刚刚讲的这个恐惧来自于何处呢？是来自于习惯或者习气。
Okay, so here is this. There is this fundamentally, there's a fundamentally, unsure. We are fundamentally unsure that we do exist or not. We don't ask this explicitly and obviously like this, but there is that fundamental: do I exist or not?
因为这里面呢是有一个这种东西，就是基本上我们有一种对自己到底存不存在的一个不确定的感觉。当然我们不会像这么明白的这样自己问，可是事实上隐藏了我们有基本上的这个问题。
Which is basically the mother of the identity crisis we are talking about.
那这就是我们刚刚讲的这个认同危机之母，就是所有的认同危机是从这里来的。
Okay, so as I was saying earlier, in Europe, I think they coined words like existentialist angst, existentialist.
那比如说在欧洲，有在谈这种
existential angst.
存在主义的焦虑或者恐惧。
Now,
存在的这个恐惧。
Some of you may think, why is Rinpoche telling us about the European existentialist angst?
有些人可能会问说，仁波切为什么要跟我们谈欧洲的这种存在焦虑呢？
Because most of us have are now conditioned. Remember, I was saying conditioned to have your hand gets sweaty when you are watching someone else's debate, because we are already conditioned. So it's no more a Western thing. It's also the modern Chinese, modern Indian, they have this. We bought it. We learned it. You send your kids to Harvard, Stanford, Yale to learn this. And now you have it.
仁波切说，为什么我们在谈这个欧洲的东西？事实上，他说我们都已经被制约到，看到别人在辩论，我们手心会出汗。所以这不只是一个欧洲的问题，而这是一个现代的问题。现代的中国人、现代的印度人， 大家都去买、去学习、去把自己的小孩送去哈佛大学、耶鲁大学、斯坦福大学去学到了这些东西，所以现在这个是一个现代的问题。
You know, we have learned to laugh at the jokes they make.
我们已经学会了去喜欢他们的笑话。
We have learned to feel guilty to things that they teach us. This is the point where you should be feeling guilty.
我们也去学会了，他们教我们说，哪里想到什么也会感觉到有罪恶感，我们也学会了这种罪恶感。
We also have, I've told you, using my own name, now I think you will not call your son leper. I don't think so. It's politically incorrect.
那就莫谢刚刚用他的名字来举例，就现在诸位不会叫你的儿子叫呆子，因为这是政治不正确的一种做法。
Your neighbor will report to the, local authority, and they will disqualify you as a healthy parent if you do that.
你的邻居会去跟政府告状，然后会说你这个不具格做父母。
So this existential angst, you have it.
所以这种存在焦虑，诸位是有的。
And I think it manifests in different ways.
那他用不一样的方法表现出来。
It comes in, I think, several ways. I'm not, this is just my speculation.
这只是仁波切在猜想的，他会有不同的方法出现。
It comes in the form of asking, what is the purpose of my life?
他来的方法其中之一呢，是问自己说：我生命的目的是什么？
What is the meaning of life?
生命的意义是什么？
What is the value of life?
生命的价值是什么？
And I'm sure many, many people actually get really deeply, deeply depressed about it, thinking about this.
那仁波切相信有很多很多的人思考这个东西，然后会感受到非常深沉的沮丧。
And it may not necessarily come as I was speaking, in this kind of, obvious, but it is there.
那当然不一定，这个大家都会像刚刚这几个问题这么明显的问，可是他会有很多方法来。
But questions such as what is the purpose of life actually is very Western thing.
那其实像说生命的目的是什么？这其实是一个非常西方的一种东西。
Probably even based on some of the Judeo-Christian or Abrahamic way of thinking.
可能都是根据于这个犹太、基督或者是这个亚伯拉罕宗教的一种想法。
I don't think, for instance, like a Buddhist, I don't think they ask questions like, what is the purpose of my life?
人们不觉得像佛教徒会问说，我的生命的目的是什么？
What is the value of my life?
我的生命的价值是什么？
For a Buddhist, that's already secondary question.
对佛教徒来讲，那个是第二层次的问题，次要的问题。
For a Buddhist, more importantly, who is this we?
对佛教徒来讲，最重要的问题是说，谁是这个我们？
Who is this I that is, forget the purpose and the value and the meaning. Who is this me?
不要去谈那个价值啊、目标、价值观等等目的，是谁是这个我？
Who is it that wants to return to normal?
是谁 要回到这个回归正常。
Okay, again coming back to mind. So what is this? Okay, so who's this me? Body, job, title, profession, citizenship. But I was saying most important probably is the mind.
那再回到这个心来讲，我们刚刚说谁是这个我？我们谈到身体、工作、名称、职业，这个哪一国的国民？可是最重要的是这个心。
So what is this mind?
所以这心是什么？
Well, definitely Buddhists will say mind is not brain. Definitely not. Mind is not brain.
那佛教徒一定会说，心不是脑。
Yeah. Now, let's go a little deeper.
那我们走深一点，
Is mind intelligence?
心是有智慧、智能的吗？
If you really want to be strict Buddhist, no. Not. I mean, yeah, part of it, but mind and intelligence, not. It's not. Yeah, mind is not intelligence.
那如果你要很严格的从佛教的标准来看，这个心是不是智能的？是的，有一些，可是事实上心不是智能的。
Yeah. So intelligence is, I think, first of all, I'm still wanting to know what the word, the English word intelligence. Do you have it in Chinese? Intelligence and mind, are they the same thing?
No.
Okay. What is intelligence?
The ability to
Sort of the algorithm, right?
yeah to discern yeah.
Discern, right.
那么现在说这个，当然他在问说这个英文的 intelligence， 我翻成智能这个有什么意思？这是什么意思？我说是有一种分别的能力，那么现在说可能跟这个计算式是差不多的意思。
Yeah, intelligence. No, mind is not intelligence.
心不是智能。
Now, let's go even deeper.
那我们再走更深一点。
Is mind cognizance?
心是不是觉知的呢？
Okay. If I say yes, I have to say it, and you have to take it with a kilo of salt together. You have to choose. Yeah. If I say yes.
如果人们现在说是的话，那你要跟着这个1公斤的盐呢一起吃下去才行。
You know, I was telling you, there's only one man. He is right, always for me.
人们现在说，刚刚跟大家讲，他认为只有一个人永远是对的，对人们现在来讲。
The same question was asked to him. What is mind?
一样的问题，有人曾经问佛陀，什么是心？
And incredible answer, incredible.
一个非常殊胜的一个回答。
He answered, and in one answer, he gave 2 contradictions, deliberately.
那他一个回答里面，他有2个矛盾的东西在里面，可是他是有意的这样回答的。
And this I quoted from the sutra.
那这是从佛经上引出来的。
When to the question, what is mind? He said, mind, there is no mind, mind is luminous.
那人家问佛陀说什么是心？他说没有心，心是光明。
Now this is probably one of the, this quotation I just told you is probably like the spine of the Mahayana Buddhist studies.
那刚刚讲的这一句呢，就是人们却认为就是大乘佛教的这个精髓。
Okay, now I was telling you earlier. About how purpose of life, meaning of life, value of life is not really something actually Buddhists really talk about.
刚刚提到这个生命的目的、意义跟价值，并不是佛教徒在谈论的事情。
These questions are asked by people who are driven by purpose.
这种问题是那些有这种目的性的人的所提出来的问题。
And because of that, people become job-driven, diploma-driven, career-driven.
那也因为这样呢，所以这些人呢，对于就追求这个工作、追求职业、追求这个名号。
And it's because of that you also have a fear of irrelevance.
同时呢，也因此呢，有一种对于这个变成无关紧要的一种恐惧。
And we become so afraid of becoming nobody.
很怕变成一个无名，就是没有用的人。
And that's why TikTok is very successful.
所以 TikTok 很成功，就是这个原因。
Because it numbs you and give you some sort of a temporary purpose of life.
因为它把你麻痹，而且给你一种某种这个暂时短暂的生命的意义的目标。
Yeah, but then and then Instagram, all of this works.
当然，这个 Instagram 所有这些都一样。
But then it comes with its own price.
可是它又有它的代价。
How many thumbs up? How many thumbs down? How many likes? How many not likes?
有一些你有多少这个按赞的人啊？有多少人按他不喜欢你的？有一些这个上，有一些下。
And this is not just TikTok and Instagram, by the way.
那这不只是 TikTok 跟 Instagram 是这样子。
This reflects to everything we do.
这是反映在我们做的所有的事情里头。
Few years ago, Taiwanese tried to have 101.
前几年呢，几年前台湾想要盖一个101大楼。
You know, tallest building.
世界最高楼。
And then, of course, the Kuala Lumpur people, they have to have one, right?
那当然，这个吉隆坡的人也要有一栋啊。
Can you, yeah, all this is related to the purpose, meaning, values.
所有这些都跟目标、意义、价值有关系。
Really, it really gets into the mind, like what brand car, what size car.
都钻到我们的这个心里面去了，要像我们用什么样的牌子的车啊，多大的车子啊什么的。
Okay, so basically what I'm trying to say here is, if you want to be normal,
那么就在这里所说的，基本上是说，如果大家想要正常，
forget, just for 10 seconds, forget purpose.
就10秒钟，只要10秒钟，花10秒钟，忘记这个目标，
Forget values.
忘记这个价值，
Forget meaning.
忘记这些意义，
Just be there and be aware for 10 seconds.
只要在那儿，只要有觉知，10秒钟就好。
By the way, I got that from 庄子。
人们也是从庄子学到这个的。
Nothing I have said here today Okay, I none of this. I cannot. Although I wish. I wish I can say this is all original, thought by me. You know.
那么就说他当然很想说，今天所有他讲的都是他自己原创的这个观念。
But nothing I have said is original. It's all taught by the guy who I thought is the only right.
所有的仁波切今天讲的所有的东西都不是原创的，都是那一位仁波切觉得所有的讲话都对的那个人说的。
And people like Zhuangzi.
还有像庄子这种人。
So learn. Okay. Better watch out the time. Okay. I think we will talk a little bit more about this, but just to start.
仁波切是会讲更多一点，不过现在稍微提一点这件事情。
Your mind is like a water.
你的心像水一样。
At the moment, it's frozen.
目前呢是冻结的。
Because the freezers, the fan is spinning so fast.
因为这个冷冻库的这个扇子转得太快了。
And you are making sure that it moves fast.
而且你非常确定的那个扇子要转得很快。
Am I talking a very old technology?
Yes. 我们就说是不是在讲一个过时的技术
How do you make ice?
I refrigerator.
Right. But
Yeah, it's a fan. Yeah.
fan?
You're right.
Is there?
Yeah.
Okay. So we are basically freezing our mind.
基本上我们在冻结我们的心。
We are making the mind abnormal.
我们在把我们的心变得不正常。
And I'm not even asking you for a long time.
那么就不要要求大家很长的时间。
All I'm asking is maybe 10 seconds.
那么就要求的只是10秒钟。
Stop spinning the fan.
把那个风扇呢关一下。
And how do you do that?
怎么做呢？
Just be aware of what is happening right this very moment, here and now.
只要知道此时此刻到底在发生什么事情，觉知这件事情。
You want to know more about mind?
你想要知道心更多吗？
This is the best way.
这是最好的方法。
Do you want to overcome all kinds of, like stress? This is the one.
你想要克服各种各样的这种压力吗？这是最好的方法。
Do you want to be a good human being?
你想要变成一个好人吗？
Yes. 10 seconds of just observing this moment. This will give you the good person. And by the way, being a good person is like a charger, It's not the real thing. It's a bonus. It's not, what do you call it? It's like just throw in. What do they call it? In America, when you buy things, you also get throw-ins, right? Oh, I will give you like a charger or a shaver or something like that.
只要这个觉知当下，也会让你变成一个更好的人。那记得仁波切刚刚讲，更好的人只是一个像这个充电器一样，这是附带的，就好像你去超市买东西那个送的那个东西一样。
We will talk about more about this being in the present, or this tomorrow. I think more fresh if you are coming back.
如果诸位回来的话，明天我们会多谈一些安住在当下的这个事情。
But really, this is just so simple.
可是事实上，这是非常简单的。
Yeah, I'm not asking you to memorize something.
而且不是要叫大家记得什么东西，
I'm not giving you any precept.
也不是给大家什么戒律。
I'm sure the modern people are so scared of precepts.
现代人都很怕这个受戒。
The very sound of the precept is daunting. It's like so heavy.
这个受戒听起来是很沉重的事情。
I'm not asking you to be religious or kind of, nothing.
而且不是要叫大家变得很宗教性的这样，不是。
What I'm saying is, you have something so precious.
我现在说的是说，诸位具有是一个非常珍贵的东西，
Something so powerful.
是非常强而有力的。
Not your body, not your job, not your home, not your family.
不是你的身体，不是你的工作，不是你的家庭，不是你的家。
This ability to comprehend, so-called mind.
这个能够觉知的这个能力，所谓的心。
This is, I could say this is you.
我现在可以说，这就是你。
Give some time to this.
给一点时间给这个你。
You have not given time to this.
你没有给过足够的给这个时间。
I mean, this is like we have been giving, investing time, energy, money, everything towards everything that is not this.
就好像说，我们是投资了所有的金钱、时间、财富。各种那个力量给所有其他的东西，就是没有给这个心一点。
How ridiculous is this? This is the most powerful, and this is the thing that, really the most beautiful thing, and you don't give time.
这是多荒唐的事情啊！这是最强而有力、最美妙的东西，可是我们不花时间在上面。
Just so. Are we going to have questions and stuff like that?
我们会有提问吗？主持人
Maybe no need, right?
也许不需要。
Okay. Yeah, okay. So before we stop, let us now again give ourselves some time to this moment.
那在我们今天结束之前，让我们给点时间。给自己这个当下一点时间。
And I'm not even asking you to sit straight and meditate.
而且不要求大家要所谓的坐直或者是禅坐、禅定。
Just even the word contemplate sounds too long-winded.
甚至这个思。文思修的这个思听起来都像一个非常遥远的一个道路。
So, let's just okay. So what I'm going to do is this: I'm going to be aware during the duration of putting my buttons of this jacket. That's all. Okay.
那么现在要做的就是说，他要觉知。他要扣这个扣子的这个整个过程，就这样。
I'm doing this because I want to just tell you that you don't have to do this way.
那么现在只是要告诉大家说，大家不需要这样端坐着。
Like this, for a lot of people, is not hip anymore.
但是这样子端坐呢，对很多人来讲，这个不够时尚。不酷了。
However you are, just be aware.
不管你什么姿态都可以。
Let's start.
我们开始。
That's it.
就这样。
I have to confess, once I was distracted.
那么就必须要承认呢，其中有一颗扣子它分心了。
When the button arrived here,
当这个扣子到这里的时候，
I thought, oh, people will notice I have a big belly.
我们就想到说，大家会看到他肚子蛮大的。
Okay? So, I want to do it again. Can I?
可不可以让人们再做一次？
Let's do it again.
我们再做一次。
This time I will unbutton.
然后这一次是解开扣子。
Okay, let's start.
好，开始。
That's it.
就这样，
Please do this.
请大家做。
And if there's any, like lamas, rinpoches, khenpos, abbots, Buddhist scholars who thinks this is not Buddhist, this is made up, send them to me. I can really have a proper debate with them.
如果有其他的喇嘛、上师啊、宗教人士啊，跟你说这个不是佛教的话，把他们带过来，然后先跟他辩论。
Yes, please, you have to. This one.
诸位一定要这样做。
This will give you confidence. You need confidence.
这会给大家信心，我们需要信心。
The Tibetan word "popa," confidence, maybe. Okay, you need confidence. Okay.
大家需要信心。
Okay, so you go to somebody's house.
你去一个人家里，
Dog is barking at you and about to eat you, bite you, the dog.
狗对你叫，而且准备要咬你了。
You visualize yourself as a lion.
你观想自己是一只狮子，
That's not confidence.
这不是信心，
That's cheating yourself.
这是自我欺骗。
Run!
跑啊，
Confidence.
信心，
Because you know it's going to bite.
因为你知道它要咬你啊。
They don't have this kind of comprehension. Oh, poor man, I'm not going to bite him or stuff like this.
那狗是不会想说，哦，这可怜的人，我不要咬它算了。
So, please, you have to do this.
请大家一定要这样做。
Okay, please, if you have questions.
好，看有问题吗？
There's a, yeah.
Thank you, Rinpoche. The social norm of the external society is driven by the purpose of life and the meaning and all that. How can we, on the surface, stay to that value, where internally stay true to ourselves and be aware and just observe? So there's a split of concept in there. It's really hard to be coherent in both ways. So 外在的社会通常我们都会被教导，或是说主流的观念都是要去追求社会地位啊，然后这些价值。可是内心呢，我们很努力的想要做佛教的事情，就是觉醒啊，然后观想等等。那这两个好像有一些差距，我们如何在这两个差距得到一个平衡？就是外面看起来好像在追求这些价值，可是内心呢，却是尽量学佛的道路。谢谢。
Well, we have been, there are many, many ways to, being oneself or observing. We are just using one of the many methods.
当然，观察自己呢有很多很多方法，我们只是在用其中的一个。
Yes, I agree with you. We are so conditioned.
是的，仁波切说同意这位女士，我们是非常被制约的，
And we will continue to be conditioned.
而且我们持续的会被制约。
If let's say, we carry on not dying, let's say 50 years, let's say, or maybe 60 years.
就假设我们不死，我们持续这样60年，50-60年。
And Africa, continent of Africa, become really powerful.
那结果呢，非洲大陆呢，这个国家变得非常强盛。
Their influence, their values, their yardsticks ends up becoming the most powerful.
他们的标准、他们的价值、他们的一些观念呢，就变成最强大的。
Yeah, then of course even I will consider changing my name to something like Wulu Mulu or whatever. Do you understand?
仁波切甚至他也会想办法把自己改名叫做什么乌鲁呼噜的。
Anyway, yes, conditioning is there.
所以制约是在那儿。
Now, but if we are consistent in doing some, for instance, just this technique we were talking earlier, what will happen is you will keep on gliding. It's a bit like a surfing. You know, the conditions are like a waves, isn't it? Kind of waves. But you are a good surfer, so you glide through this. So actually, sort of this very dangerous, scary, actually ends up becoming your, I don't know, it recharges you. So that definitely can happen, for sure.
所以，如果我们持续的在做像仁波切刚刚教的这个办法的话，那在我们这持续被制约的过程里面，就好像我们在冲浪一样。那这个所有的这个制约就好像浪，有很多很大的危险的浪过来。可是当我们冲浪冲得很好的话，反而变成让我们可以从里面得到一些力量，而且变成很熟稔的这样做。
Okay, any more question?
还有别的吗？
First of all, thank you, Rinpoche. As a Westerner, I can't help but wonder when you speak from time to time about the Western influence, whether the real influence is more commercialism. Because when I was young, Western values were much more simple, basically, a lot shared with what I find our family and education and health, are just the good things. Much more simple. And then there was the influence of advertising, I think, and commercialism, and the world changed so much. I wonder if that's, and conditioning, I think, is very much, and habit, everything you spoke about. But I wonder if that's the real culprit in Dongfang也好, Xifang也好. Sorry, I won't translate the rest. Oh, Chris, I think intelligence is 智力, by the way.
Thank you. Yes, very much so. This is why I was saying earlier, we are not even a citizen anymore. We are just a consumer.
所以仁波切回答他的问题是说，这个我们现在都不是一个所谓的国民了，我们变成一个消费者。他的问题是说，西方的这个广告跟这种商业主义是不是才是真正的这个危害之首？
But there may be also influence of, how should I put it? But this is not really the East and West. It's basically the lack of influence of non-duality.
那这个不只是西方东方的问题，真正的问题是在一种缺乏对于非二元的一种了解。
Basically, yes, very strong influence of advertisement.
是的，这个很强的这个广告啊等等这种影响。
And I have to say, even Buddhism has to be careful not to be sort of hijacked by these things.
那即使是佛教也要很小心，不要被这些东西所绑架了。
This is why I was saying earlier, we have to be careful about becoming a good person,
这就是
not being the real purpose of Buddhism.
就是什么？先前讲的，就是我们要很小心，不要把这个做佛教徒的这个目的，只是想成做一个好人。
Because first of all, good person is very relative.
首先呢，这个好人呢是非常相对的。
And also, it opens a lot of door to righteousness.
而且他开了很多门呢，让这种所谓的正义呢，让正义开了很多门。
And then also, good human being, they are very, very close to, happy family, happy. Also, happiness as Buddhism is very dangerous.
那这个好人呢，跟这个所谓的快乐家庭，或者是快乐是很接近的，这是有点危险。
Yes, it can get hijacked and contaminated by anything to do with it. I feel it can get commercialized.
那么所以说，他感觉这个很容易被劫持或者被商业化。
If I just add a question on that, because this is quite an important question, then maybe you may ask, what can we do? Nothing much, but what we are doing right now, talking like this, is probably a good thing.
那么如果自己加一个问题是说，那我们能够做什么呢？他说，也许能做的东西不多，可是来像我们现在这样来讨论这个事情呢，是很有帮助的。
Yeah, I think we need to learn to, bug, our normal chain of habitual thoughts. Sometimes we need to voluntarily bug ourselves.
我们应该要常常的、主动的去让我们的这种习性的这种思维来挑战他们，来刺激他们，来干扰他们。刚刚这位女士说，这个 intelligence 应该翻成智力比较好。谢谢。
Okay, maybe just one question, and then we will.
最后一个问题。
Yeah.
大家好，不好意思，就是想问一下仁波切这个问题，就是我们平常可能就是有很多经啊、咒啊，然后祈请文告诉我们说，我们可以透过做这些事情来达到更好的运势，或是实现一些期望等等。但是有的时候我们没有它的就效果上可能没有那么明显的时候，传统上可能会解释成说是可能就是我们不够虔诚或不够有信心等等。但是有的时候如果我们没有看到这么多的改变，可能信心度也不太够，变成说好像是一个比较吊诡的逻辑。所以我想请问仁波切说，我们要用什么样的态度和心态去做更多的祈祷或更多的就是修持之类，然后让我们的心愿更容易达成。另一方面，就是面对未必能够达成的情况的时候，我们又要怎么样调试自己，让自己朝修持跟各方面更好的路迈进。
He said, when we read a sutra or chant the mantras or make prayers to hoping to change our luck or our aspirations, sometimes the effects are not very obvious. And of course, traditionally, people would tell us that is because we are not sincere or devoted enough. But if we don't have the effect, that our confidence will lessen. So it's kind of a vicious cycle. So what kind of attitude should we have towards the praying or chanting mantra or doing practice for us to fulfill our wish? And when the wishes are not fulfilled, what should we do?
Okay, there are many answers for this.
这个有很多种回答。
Whoever this friend of yours, he may be right.
这个跟你说你不够虔诚啊什么的这个朋友呢，可能他是对的。
Maybe you are not concentrating.
也许你不够专心专注。
Now, if you are asking me, I will say, oh, don't worry, no need good motivation, and just doing it, that already has an impact.
那如果你问仁波切的话呢，仁波切会跟你说啊，不需要是什么正确的发心啊，你只要这样做就已经够好了。
But then your question is still, but I don't feel the impact. I don't get the result.
可是你的问题会说，可是我还是得不到我的愿望，结果达不到。
But you see, the thing is, maybe you shouldn't get what you wished for.
那也许呢，你所期望的东西呢，可能你不应该得到啊。
Maybe that could lead to a lot of trouble.
可能这会带来更多的麻烦。
So you have to really think big.
所以你要想大，想得很广大。
Yeah. So maybe I personally think it's working.
而且个人觉得你在做的是有效的。
Yes, I think it was Jigme Lingpa. He said.
这是吉美林巴说的。
He said when 100 things that I wished never come true, and 1,000 things that I dare not wish come true, then that is a blessing.
他说呢，有100件我期待的事情，祈请的事情没有实现，而我有1000件我不敢祈请的事情实现了，那他认为这是一个加持。
I think it's wonderful that you even actually read it. That's already, to me, that's already a big thing.
对仁波切来讲，你已经去读经啊、念咒语啊，这个是非常好的事情，这已经是一个很大的一件事情。
In the age of Netflix, Instagram, TikTok, you still have time to read the sutra? Wow!
在这个 Netflix、TikTok 的这个年代，你还有时间去读经，哇，这不得了！
I admire you.
我羡慕你。
Read it.
继续念。
And don't worry about having a good motivation or proper sitting or nothing. Just read it.
不要去担心什么正确的发心啊、坐直啊什么等等的，就去读就好了。
I think whoever is giving you this, what do you call it, answer earlier, I think the guy is very good at the art of disclaimer.
那不管那个跟你讲那个你的朋友劝告你那个人，他一定是很会这个怎么说避免自己有责任的这种艺术，他非常精通。
Okay, let's stop here today.
好，我们今天就到此。
And we will continue talk about, more the technique tomorrow.
我们明天会多谈一些技术技巧。
We talked a lot about what made us abnormal.
我们会谈这个什么让我们不正常。
Of course, one obvious, the pandemic situation and all of that, but there is so much more.
那当然，这个明显的是这个疫情，可是还是有很多其他的东西。
Our parents, just everything, just so much conditioning.
我们一大堆这个制约的东西。
Not just parents, just everything, education, parents,
Parents， 我们的父母亲啊，我们的教育啊，
just things that we read.
我们读的东西啊。
That's why I was giving you the picture, using myself as an example.
所以我们就用他自己的这个做例子啊，给大家等于画出一个图像。
I am totally conditioned.
人们现在是完全被制约的。
But it is the blessing of my gurus. that at least I admit that I am conditioned.
可是由于仁波切的上师的加持呢，至少仁波切他说他承认他是被制约的。
This much admitting that we are conditioned, that's I think is important.
这样子的去了解制约自己被制约，是一个非常重要的事情。
Yes, let's talk more about the technique tomorrow.
好，我们明天谈更多的技巧。
Okay.
谢谢。Thank you, Rinpoche.